Hi everyone. Let me have the honor to introduce Mrs. Vandana Mohture. She's from Sydney, Australia. She's a founder of Mind Art Coaching and Consulting. She's a mentor, facilitator, and speaker.
How to create a lasting impression. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And everything that we'll be doing in this session is in context to understanding what impression is and how it is formed and what we can do to present our best selves. An impression is really what others think of us when we meet them for the first time. What is the impression that people get of us? That's the first impression. So when someone's looking at us for the first time or they're meeting us at the first time, what is the feeling that they got after meeting us? So an impression is formed. It started as a protective mechanism for us in the olden days, in the historic human evolution. It was very important to have an impression because a whole tribe was dependent on that impression. Can I trust this person? Is it okay for them to involve, for us to involve them in our lives or to be able to have any interaction with them? So what we really need to know is, can I trust this person? So halo effect, it was invented, or rather officially patented by Edward Thorndike. He did an experiment. This was in the late 1920s. So he did an experiment where he asked the two commanding officers to rank the soldiers only by looking at their picture. So they hadn't met them. He just showed these two commanding officers, he just showed them the pictures of multiple soldiers and asked them to rank, what could be the ranks of these people. So this was an experiment that he conducted. And what he was looking to analyze is that how someone's appearance is making us feel about them. So he really wanted to understand that how these commanding officers would actually end up saying, oh, what rank these soldiers belong to, just looking at their experience. And this was, at that time, it was done with the help of photographs. So what he discovered was that, the way we not judge, the way we perceive people is based on the traits, some of the positive traits of them, which might not be related. What I mean by that is, if somebody has broad shoulders, or if somebody has a confident stance, if somebody has a confident smile, if somebody is dressed a certain way. So the way we look at people, the way they appear has a certain, give us a certain perception. And then based on the impression that we get, suppose we have a positive aspect or a positive perception of a human being, we tend to ignore the negatives of that person. So if you are positively influenced by someone, if you think something positive about somebody, then you automatically tend to not ignore, but let go of certain negative traits that might also be popping up, but you most likely will let them go because you think very positively of this person. So what, after that experiment, he figured that, the two things could be totally unrelated. So a person's physical look might be unrelated to their ranks, but just by the physical looks, the ranks were like all mismatched. They didn't align. So the halo effect basically says that, our perception of a person actually influences how we perceive all the attributes of that person. So the positive is called halo effect, like, an impression, what we were talking about, it could be positive or negative. So the positive is called halo effect and the negative is called the horn effect. In the positive, you have positive impression, you already, by your impression, you make a higher equity and people are able to trust you more, and you're able to add better value. Because imagine, when you already start on a strong foot, whatever you do thereafter, it's always going to be taken in a good light, till the time you do something else to mess that up. But for some time, it will be taken in a positive light just by the first impression that you've made on them. And the horn effect is just the same, but the opposite. So when you meet someone for the first time, for example, you are at a game, or maybe you are attending a dance festival or something, and then you hear somebody using a lot of cuss words or doing inappropriate behavior, what that does is, automatically, if they come across and try to help you at some point in time, based on what you've seen about them, you might not be able to trust them. So it lowers your equity directly. It gives you lesser value and lower trust. So it's very important for us to be aware of this, that I know you're already aware. It's something that might sound repetitive, but this is a scientific explanation of why it happens. It happens whether you like it or not. It happens for all of us. So there will be a halo effect or a horn effect. So let's just become aware that it is going to happen, and what should we do to make sure that we are going towards the halo effect and not the horn effect. Now, if you are you're appearing for an interview today, the social media, our presence is everywhere. There's a footprint, web footprint for all of us. So we cannot really hide. If a recruiter wants to find out about us, there are multiple ways of finding about us. They know a lot about us even before meeting us. So let's become aware that everything contributes to all of our presence, not just the physical presence, but all of our presence contributes to the halo effect and the horn effect. So let's become aware of that. And to make sure that we are navigating towards the halo effect. So be respectful, be warm and welcoming, be well groomed, be consistent, be in the company of good people, and be confident. So this, again, I'd say that this is something that, that has to become a second nature. It cannot be that I'm only doing this to create a trap, to just showcase it. It should become a way of our life, to create a lasting impression, or to create the halo effect that we're looking to create. Robert Cialdini, again, is he has what do you say, patented, or he's the one who finally discovered the 6 laws of persuasion. So if you ever get a chance, do read his book called The 6 Laws of Persuasion, or 6 Laws of Influence. So out of that, in our context today, what we're going to cover about, this is the 5th law, which is Cialdini's law of liking. So what he says that, there are certain factors that make us more likable. How do we bring that in our personality? Not just for the interview, wherever we are going for an interview, but generally in any kind of conversation, in any interaction. How do we bring a general law of, or how do we generally make ourselves more likable? So as per this law, the key important factors of this law is that people who are similar to us, that means something that makes us familiar to them, we automatically develop a sense of liking towards them, which is again natural. Something all of you, I'm sure, must have already felt this, that when you're able to find a common ground with someone, that, or find some connection which is common for both of you, there's automatically a sense of similarity, and which makes that person a little more likable. People who notice good things about you and who give you compliments, again, that's something that when you say something nice about someone, one, that the other person appreciates that you notice something, and secondly, you also had the kind gesture of sharing that to them. So again, when you do that, it automatically makes you likable. And the third is, of course, people who collaborate or cooperate. So when you're working on any project or any task, soon you will be joining the workforce. So when you're working with your team members, maybe right now you're working on certain projects with your fellow students, your friends. So whenever you do any work, and how you collaborate together, how you cooperate with each other, no matter where that person is coming from, just that having that camaraderie with a fellow human, it automatically makes them likable. So these are the 3 key important factors which define the likability of a person. And when you like someone, it's automatically, you would want to be associated with them. So it's, again, I'm sharing this because you need to know, when you start displaying these characteristics, what happens is there is a higher chance of you getting that, getting to the next level of whatever you're trying to do, because you've started on a strong foot. So when you like someone, you automatically get things done in a better way. For example, again, if I take an example of a project that's been given to you in your school or in your college, what happens is, if you get the kind of people assigned in the project who you already like, you would be, one, very excited to do the work. Two, you would be interactive, cooperative. You would you would want to brainstorm and bring in ideas that serve you, and create a good product. And because there's such good energy amongst all of you, the end result ends up being like a great outcome, even if you win the prize or don't win the prize, but it's actually about the experience. So when you like someone, it's automatically going to create a great experience for you, and whenever there's a great experience, there's a great learning that comes out of it, and we are not related to the result anymore. Now, next one is, again, I know I'm throwing in too many laws and too many cognitive behavioral terms here, but again, I feel that this will be helpful for you. Now, this is Kahneman's cognitive ease model. Again, this is, all these terms are coming in from cognitive behavioral therapy education. So this comes sort of after a lot of study of the human behavior, and most of these concepts that we are studying today, they are used for marketing, especially by big brands. How people respond to them, it's all a branding and a marketing strategy, and they use all of these principles so that we can show a certain, after studying the human behavior, after studying our behavior, the society, they utilize and plan further strategies of how they want to launch the next products. Yeah. So this ease model, the cognitive ease model, what it means is, when we find something very easy, we automatically connect to it in a better way. A simple example would be, if a name is easy, we remember it longer. If a product has, again, like a Coca-Cola, it's sounding, it's rhyme, it's peppy, you might probably, you'll probably go for it just because of the name, and how many times as the first thing that you see there is repeated experience. How many times you've come across the brand, how many times you've come across the name, who is, how it is clearly displayed, who is what do you say, promoting it. So the more easy you make it, the more people will remember it. You would have felt this yourself too, while, again, I go back to college and classrooms. Now, when a teacher explains something very simply, in very simple terms, with a lot of ease, you'll tend to remember it longer. you'll tend to internalize the whole concept better. I'm sure you would agree with that. Again, if somebody's name is complicated, maybe you'll be, you might register it. But if someone's name is like, like an Abhishek or a Priyanka, that's probably they're the names, most common names during my time. You just remember those names along because you hear them so often. So what Kahneman's cognitive ease model says that when you get a repeated experience of something over and over and over again, it makes it easy for you to have a longer impression.